Donald Trump is guilty of many crimes. We all know when it comes to the stolen document scandal, but he has had a lot of help along the way. Judge Eileen Cannon, a judge that he put in her position, has been doing everything she can to save him from accountability, to delay the process. But it's looking like she may not have enough power to actually drive this thing home, because Raymond Dearie is making her look really bad and really corrupt in his position as a special master. So Trump is looking for reinforcements, superior reinforcements. He is asking the Supreme Court now to overturn a federal appeals court ruling to allow the Department of Justice to review classified documents that have been seized from Mar-a-Lago. Trump's legal team in the filing asked that the special master, Raymond Dearie, be allowed to review the roughly 100 documents marked as classified that were found at Mar-a-Lago. So again, they went through Eileen Cannon. She tried to protect him, saying, no, DOJ, don't get your hands off those documents. Raymond Dearie can look at it. And Raymond Dearie is like, okay, I should be done in a week or two. And she's like, no. Take until the holidays, I think. And the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals didn't think that that made any sense. And they allowed the DOJ to continue to look at these documents. And so he's now going to the next step, the highest step, really. This is as high as it goes. He wants the Supreme Court to save him. They argue, by the way, and I love this argument, that the 11th Circuit lacked the judicial authority to stay the special master order authorizing that review, saying the 11th Circuit granted a stay of the special master order, effectively compromising the integrity of the well-established policy against piecemeal appellate review and ignoring the district court's broad discretion without justification. So their argument there is, hey, we can't just have things being appealed willy-nilly. Let's just stay the course. And in pursuit of that, hey, Supreme Court, could you appeal this thing pronto? Wait, I thought it was piecemeal. I thought you didn't want the piece of the meal. But no, now he does want the Supreme Court. And Judge Clarence Thomas, who is assigned to oversee emergency requests, says the DOJ can respond to Trump's petition by early next week. And then we will know if the Supreme Court might do a ruling or might do a hearing, or God only knows, JR, but they might get involved in this thing.
Sounds like judge shopping to me. Sounds like the same things that Donald Trump likes to always claim his judicial opponents are doing in court, because he's always in court. How dare they go after and find another judge that's gonna rule in their favor? This is third world country stuff, right? Or it's Donald Trump type of stuff. Remember that judge early on in his presidency, the Latino judge, when he said he's biased because of who he is? He says things like this all the time, like it's just normal. But then when he does it, it's just normal process. And in fact, in case people were thinking that his reasons for getting as many justices on the Supreme Court as possible has anything to do with trying to advance Republican principles or any kind of the judicial rulings based on that, yeah, partially so he can look like he cares about anyone else, even the conservative part of the country. It's always about him. He wants now to go to the Supreme Court to be his official stamp to get him off the hook yet again. He thinks the top court in the country is his. He thinks the country belongs to him and him only. This is what he believes. And he thinks other people think the same way because he can't get out of that storm in his brain where the brain is bouncing around amidst all the hurricanes.
The hurricanes that he has tried to direct out of the way with a Sharpie, and they just won't listen.
Yeah, scribbles on his forehead.
Exactly, he thinks it is his, and it isn't. Well, like 1/3 of it is, because he put 3 of the justices on it. And Clarence Thomas is married to a woman who believes literally every conspiracy theory about the big lie that anyone has ever scrawled on the internet. So I guess 4 out of 9, they seem unbiased. I think they should be able to rule on this. I don't think anybody should recuse themselves or anything. By the way, there's just one other, and we're gonna find out next week. We'll give you the update and we'll see. Maybe they just kill the whole thing. Maybe they don't though. Maybe they don't. They haven't weighed in yet. So that shows a little bit of discretion. Maybe they'll surprise me and maybe they won't weigh in. But in advance of that, obviously Donald Trump's legal team has received a lot of criticism, notably from the David Report, for their unwillingness to state what they claim in court. So you make claims about declassification or stuff being planted. So then why aren't you actually claiming that in court? And they've apparently heard that concern because in this same filing, they do actually talk about declassification. And so I guess that's a point that we now need to move on from. They finally addressed it. Although it occurs to me, maybe we should briefly read what it is that they said. So they say President Trump was still the president of the United States when any documents bearing classification markings were delivered to his residence in Palm Beach, Florida. At that time, he was the commander-in-chief of the United States. As such, his authority to classify or declassify information bearing on national security flowed from his constitutional investment of power in the president. And I am just sleepy enough from how boring that was that I'm not sure if they addressed it. Wait. They didn't actually say it. No, all they said was, like, in theory, he has a power and declassification is a thing. It's like if your wife is like, did you cheat on me? And you're like, well, I was in a building and I have a reproductive system as a person who was born. And in theory, sex is when a person has intercourse with another person. Does that satisfy your concerns? No, not at all. They're still not actually saying whether he declassified it or not. They just stated that declassification exists. They should be laughed at this court in the same way that they were the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, but it's probably not gonna happen.
And that sucks that he actually thinks the Supreme Court is the one that will not laugh him out, which would be a laughing stock for our country.
Maybe this will make sense to, I don't know, Kavanaugh, he's pretty drunk all the time. Like maybe it'll make sense to him, but doesn't make sense to me. For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.